Hello and welcome to the first ever La Liga show on this channel, and we have a lot in store for you for today's video. Let's get things underway with La Liga, of course, the top division in the Spanish football, and let's take a look at who is top of the league. Real Madrid topped the league table after a 2-0 defeat at Girona 2 nights ago. It was a splendid match for Real Madrid and a bit of an upset for Girona, as they were top of the table before Real Madrid came in and beat them. Then we see Barcelona coming in at second with 20 points, just 1 point behind Real Madrid, above Girona, who are now third in the table. Girona had a brilliant start to the season, only losing one of their games so far on 19 points with 8 games in. In fourth is a bit of a slower start for Atletico Madrid after they did lose to Valencia a few weeks ago, 3-0. But Valencia did have a bit of a struggle this weekend against Real Betis, and they did lose 3-0. Isco is with Real Betis now, and let's just say here his start has been quite spectacular. He did debut against Granada, the newly promoted team, who are currently sitting second from bottom, just ahead of Almeria, who are a bit slow off the start as well. I'm just taking a look at the Real Betis game against Valencia that occurred on Sunday. That game did end 3-0, and it did have some quite interesting events and features that went down during the game. But bear with me. Isco did win man of the match in that game. This is his second game with the club. The game was at the Benítez Villamarín, which is the Villamarín, Estadio Villamarín in Real Betis. This is in Sevilla. Isco did get an assist for Marc Roca in that game, and it was quite a spectacular assist as well. And the game ended 3-0. Real Betis is currently sitting 7th in the table. Valencia is sitting in 9th in the table, which is quite alright considering how bad they played last season and how they only finished 15th in the table last season, which is currently being occupied by Sevilla, who had a bit of a slow start off the banks. They did win 5-1 against Almeria. Personally, I think they were robbed a clean sheet in that game, as Almeria won a penalty. Let's just say it was a bit of a tap penalty. I personally don't think it should have been a penalty, but Luis Suarez did bag away a goal for Almeria in the final few minutes of that game. Not the Luis Suarez that we all know and love, who went to Uruguay a few years back. This is a different Luis Suarez. This is the number 9 for Almeria, and he did manage to pull one back for Almeria, but unfortunately it was too late into the game as Sevilla were winning 5-0 at the time. Sevilla did go 3-0 up in the first 11 minutes of that game, and that game did end 5-1. Let's take a look at Villarreal as well, as they have had a bit of a slow start to their La Liga campaign. They are playing on Thursday against Rennes in the Europa League. If we take a look at how they went on in their game against Getafe, they drew 0-0 in that one, and it was a bit of a slow and boring game for both sides. But if you take a look at some of their other games, they lost 2-1 to Girona, who Girona had an impressive start to their La Liga season. They also are losing games that they should be winning. For instance, they lost 3-1 to Cadiz, who have also had a splendid start to their season. They won against Almeria, who already seem to be doomed at the bottom of La Liga. And yes, that's about it for Villarreal. If we take a look at Las Palmas, going in just below Villarreal in 14th position, Las Palmas were in the Segunda División last year, and they were promoted into this division, this La Liga top flight. They did come out on top against Celta Vigo. Celta Vigo, another team that struggled last season. Las Palmas won 2-1 in that game. Las Palmas looking to stay up this season. Celta Vigo will be in the same position that they were in last season, where the whole aim is to literally just survive in La Liga after they finished 17th out of 20, just outside the relegation zone. To be fair, I'm surprised they didn't get relegated last season. And the teams that were relegated, the team that relegated in third spot, was slightly unlucky to not make it out. Anyways, let's move on to the Spanish Championships, or the Spanish La Liga B, or the Spanish Segunda División, or La Liga Dos, depending on where you're from. Currently in first position is Leganes with 18 points, and that is a spectacular start to their season. Espanyol, the relegated team, the team that Celta Vigo pushed down into the relegation spots, is sitting in second position. It is a great start for both these teams. I would have it would have been better for Espanyol to have been pushing for the top spot in this group. Real Zaragoza had an awesome start to their season, and they were top for a very, very brief time in the opening. They are sitting in third. Levante, the other team in Valencia, is sitting in fourth position. Fifth and sixth spots are taken up by Tenerife and Kion. So we are looking forward to a rather interesting Segunda this season, as we have many teams in there that could actually push for promotion this season. Don't forget, there is a playoff in this La Liga, this Spanish League 2 as well. So it's like in the English one, where the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth play in a playoff, and first and second go straight up. Let's list some teams that I would think would be able to push for those promotion spots. Valladolid, Santander. I even think Eibar could press for promotion this season. Eibar had a very, very rough start, as they sat bottom of the table for a while, but they have found their feet now, and they're picking up the pace, and they are now sitting in ninth. Racing Ferrol, recently promoted from the Tercera o Primera Federación, sitting in 10th position. Awesome start, very brilliant start for them. Albacete, also promoted a few years back, sitting in 12th position. Burgos, a team that were looking at a struggling end to the season last year, sitting in mid-table right now. Mirandes, Andorra. Mirandes, the team that Joaquin from Real Betis Real Betis, who announced he did not want to retire at his club, decided to move to Mirandes. They are sitting in 13th. Andorra, the only team in the Spanish leagues that is not actually in Spain. Andorra sitting 14th in the league. Villarreal B, of course, Villarreal's second-hand team, sitting in 16th. The doomed team of La Liga, Elche, is looking a little bit doomed in this league as well. They are sitting in 17th. This is a bit of an upsetting start for them. Eldense, a team that won the other team that won Grupo A of the Primera Federación last season, are in 18th position. Huesca, Real Oviedo, Alcorcón, and Cartagena. I've seen all of these teams play, and it is a bit of a disappointment to say that these four teams are currently struggling at the bottom of the table. Oviedo did manage to get a win over the weekend. They beat the team that was recently promoted into La Liga B, and that is Eldense. They were away, Oviedo, and they managed to win 3-1. Paulino won the man of the match. Eddie Salguedo did pull one back for Eldense, and the game ended 3-1. But it was a rather quick start, let's just say, for Oviedo, and they scored their three and only goals inside the first 25 minutes of the game. And the game pretty much ended there and then for Eldense. And yes, there you have it. There is La Liga B or La Liga Dos, depending on where you are. Segunda, some people still call it. Anyways, let's move on to Primera Federación. And what a spectacular start for some of these teams coming in here. It is not out of the ordinary who is top of the groups, who is top and who is bottom, to be fair. Tarragona tops the Grupo Uno, the Group 1 for some of you, which is the northern group. This is not like the English leagues where it goes down into League 1. There is way too many teams to do that. So what they do instead is they separate it like the Northern Southern Premier, and everyone in Grupo Uno is in the north and everyone in Grupo Dos is in the south, with a few exceptions. Real Madrid B and Atletico Madrid B sneak into the southern group. But anyways, looking at the top of the table, Tarragona recently, a few seasons ago, were in Segunda, currently sitting in top position, and they have yet to lose a game, I believe. But Bonferrandina is currently sitting in second position. They were relegated just above Malaga last season in La Liga B. They would be looking for a promotion. Real Unión is sitting in third. That is Jaén's team of Jaén. Osasuna B is the highest ranked B team so far in both groups, excluding Villarreal, who is, of course, in the Segunda. Real Sociedad is sitting in fifth. Let's take a look slightly further down the table. We have Deportivo La Coruña, who won La Liga in the year 2000, the 1999 to 2000 season, are sitting in 12th spot in this Grupo A. They did have a bit of a struggle and a squaffle in their first few games. They have won only one of their last 5 games. They drew 3 and lost 1. They lost to Fuenlabrada. It was a bit of a disappointment. They should have won that game. They were the better team playing through, but unfortunately for them, they lost the game and they are now struggling in 12th position. Still early days though, so anything can still happen going into these games. All it takes is for a team to slip up and you whiz back up into the league in these leagues. It's not like La Liga or La Liga B, where the league is very much divided by the top 10 teams and the bottom 10 teams, or in a Segunda's case, the top 10 teams and the bottom 12 teams, because there are 22 teams in this league. Let's take a look at Segunda, Primera Grupo B. Oh wait, just before I do that, let's take a look at the bottom teams in this. It is a bit of a different relegation system. There are 5 teams in the Grupo A who get relegated, and in that it is, of course, Fuenlabrada, Turel, Tarazona, and Cesato. Cesato only have 3 points at the bottom of the table. Still early days. Anything can still change. Going into Grupo Dos or Grupo B, depending on where you're from, Castellón, top of the group, without a defeat so far going into the season. They beat the likes of Malaga. They've also beaten the likes of Atletico Madrid B, Murcia, Malaga, who's sitting second in the division, were all again like Deportivo La Coruña, a very, very strong La Liga team a few years back. They were in the Champions League in the 2012 season. They did manage to pull it all the way to the quarterfinals in that Champions League season. And unfortunately haven't been in it since, and of course are now all the way down in the Primera División. Huerta sitting in third position. Ibiza was also relegated last season, are sitting in fourth spot. They do have a game in hand against Murcia though, so I believe they will win that game because Ibiza need to win those games, and Ibiza has had a really, really strong start to their season. Algeciras makes the top five. It's let me run through how the playoffs and the promotion works in this division. So how it works is the number one team for each of the leagues. So far it is Tarragona and Castellón. Castellón is not actually a team from Castellón, so I'm going to spare you that confusion. Those two teams will be promoted, and then it is like the standard playoff promotion style. First, the next four teams will go into a mini knockout tournament, and whoever wins out of the four teams, whoever comes out victorious in the final. So it would be second versus fifth, third versus fourth. So in our case, for instance, right now it'd be Malaga versus Algeciras and Ibiza versus Cueta. I believe it's over two legs. Yes, it is over two legs. So you play your first game. I believe second plays at home first, and then fifth plays away first. And the other teams, for instance, would be Ponferrada versus Real Sociedad, and then Real Sociedad B, and Real Union versus Osasuna 2. So I apologize, Real Union is not from Jaén. I've confused that for another team. Anyway, sorry, I've thrown myself off a little bit. In sixth position is Cordoba. Cordoba were relegated from the Segunda División in 2019. They are in sixth position after beating Granada B 3-0. Granada B on consecutive 3-0 defeats, having lost the last three of their games 3-0. Huelva sitting in seventh. Antequera sitting in eighth. Real Madrid B 10th. Intercity 11th. Linares 12th. Merida 13th. Atletico Madrid B in 14th, and Murcia in the final of the teams that are not in the relegation struggles right now, sitting in 15th. Granada B, or Granada 2, 16th. San Fernando, who lost their last game in a very, very tight game against Malaga, sitting in 17th. Aloyano in 18th. Melilla, the team in Africa, Melilla, because of Spanish territories in Africa, allowed to play in this division. And in finally the last position, Baleares, sitting in last position, yet to win a game, yet to score more than 1 point, sitting in dead last right now. Still very, very early days. We've only seen 6 games so far, 5 if you're Ibiza and Murcia. But anyways, 6 games going in, and that is quite appalling performance from the Baleares. But I have figured one thing out looking at this Primera Federación. Teams that play in an attacking form tend to only score 2, 3 or 4 goals, and then they drop off. I have noticed that when a team goes 2-0 up, it is very, very unlikely for them to lose or even drop points. So basically your aim is to score 2 goals and then, push back, drop back and defend. I saw that in the Malaga game against San Fernando, but they didn't score 2 goals, they only scored 1 goal, and then they decided to play 5 at the back and go very defensive, which does work, but it can be very dangerous only being 1 goal up. You shouldn't play too defensive when you are only 1 goal up, because you have no attacking form. If one of these defensive, if you play too deep and you lose the ball, it's very easy to get a simple breakaway and lose goals like that. So I would recommend score at least 2 goals before you go on a defensive. Anyways, let me explain the Segunda Federación or Segunda División for you. There is 5 groups in that Federación. I'm not going to run through all of them because there is just simply way too many of them, and it would be way too much of a drag and way too long. Anyways, that's why there are 5 relegation spots in both of these Primera División groups. So 5 from each group go down, and only 2 from each group go up. This is because of the relegation and promotion system in Spain and the Spanish league system. So, and also the Spanish relegation and Spanish promotion system. So let's put in a little prediction going into these final bits of the group, the final let's call it the final days of the early stages of the season. I predict that Atletico Madrid will push up the ranking and come at least 3rd. They will jump above Girona. Girona will slip to about 6th or 7th. I believe Real Madrid will actually win this season this year. They will surpass Barcelona and will take away their defending champions title. Barcelona, who did win the champions, the La Liga last year, they will slip down into 2nd position. Anyways, segunda predictions. I think Espanyol and Leganes, I think that will stay the same. I think Espanyol will actually win the league, and Leganes will come in 2nd position. I think Eibar will win the playoffs, but they will have a tough Zaragoza. Final. Let's move down into the Primera Federación. I think Tarragona will easily win the league this season, and I think the team that they will be promoted alongside in the playoffs will be. Let's just take a look. I think, looking at teams that I think have had a really good start, I think Real Unión will have a very, very good chance of being promoted. But I think teams like Celta Vigo B, Real Sociedad, Osasuna B, Osasuna B, Ponferradina will also be in a very, very tight position. It's a very much top 6, top 7, and the rest league. So if you're pushing for top 6, top 7, you're going to pretty much be in the promotion spot, near enough. Of course, only the top 5 are in an eligibility to get into a playoff spot. Top number 1 obviously promoted automatically. Going into Grupo 2, I think Castellón will eventually slip. This run in form will eventually come to an end, and I think Malaga will push above them and win the league, as they only have lost 1 of the games so far. This game has been to Castellón. Ceuta and Ibiza will have a really, really strong form. I think Ibiza will come 2nd, Ceuta maybe 4th or 5th. Cordoba, I reckon, will come in and take the final playoff position. I think Castellón will also take up those positions. I'm not saying they're going to drop completely out of their of form. I think Ibiza. I think it will be an Ibiza-Cordoba playoff final, and Cordoba will beat Ibiza, returning back to the Segunda División. Anyways, looking at the relegation, it's too close to call right now. I probably will make a little relegation prediction coming in to about halfway through the season, when it is a little bit tighter, a little bit more open in a way. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. And I shall see you next week in next week's update. And for all those La Liga fans out there, keep supporting the team you desire, admire, whoever. And hope everyone has the best of days. Have a splendid Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever you're watching this video. And I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.